Okay, so guys, here today, we're not here to only talk about clicks and conversions. We want to talk about how we capture the modern shopper in an era where the traditional funnel completely fails us. So let's start off by having a look at what some of those shopping journeys look like today.
Every purchase starts with intent, but no two journeys look the same. One shopper discovers a product through social media. Another reads a trusted editorial review. A third compares prices, saves it to a wish list, waits for a deal, and comes back weeks later. Different touch points, different paths, but the same outcome. Today's consumer moves seamlessly between content, commerce, and technology, discovering, researching, comparing, and purchasing across dozens of interactions. In fact, it can take more than 50 touch points before a purchase decision is made. That's why success isn't about winning a single moment, it's about showing up throughout the entire journey, from inspiration to consideration, from discovery to conversion, across publishers, creators, shopping tools, rewards platforms, AI-powered experiences, and everything in between.
Is fast-paced, multi-device, multi-channel, and this isn't something that's coming soon, this isn't something that's happening in the future, this is happening today. This is how the modern shopper shops at the moment. And one of the key things is really understanding how this modern shopper looks at things, how they navigate things, their attention span, the demographic, for example, and the fact that the shopping journey today is a non-linear and really fragmented one. So, modern discovery, how's it done today? I just want to share a quick story with you of how I bought my last Valentino sandals I'm wearing today. So, one day, not long ago, I was looking at a travel article, okay, and I was looking at weekends away in Venice. And in the article, there was a woman wearing a beautiful long white dress with these sandals. So, I wasn't in shopping mode, I was in inspiration mode. I was only looking at weekends away, but my subconscious took a snapshot of those shoes. Okay, so I was inspired. A few days later, I was on IG, and I see one of the content creators I follow drops the 5 must-haves for summer this year. And guess which item was that? So sandals appeared again. That was my validation at that point. Then, fast forward 30 days later, there was no activity. 0 for 30 days. Then we were invited to Italy to attend the PAN. I had a long white dress to wear. What goes with that long white dress? And so my passive desire became an active mission. And it became an urgent need. I needed those sandals, and I needed the next couple of days because I was flying out. So I searched for them because they were imprinted in my mind, had a look at any deals or offers, used my flexible checkout, and bought those. So that was my journey when I bought those sandals. My intention at the beginning was to look for a weekend away in Venice. And the problem with that journey itself is that had the intention or desire not been planted into my mind 30 days before, I would have not bought those sandals. I would have bought something else, I would have gone with something I had, for example. So focusing on the last click or the lower funnel only will then allow you to miss the entire journey where the discovery, the intent, and the new desire happens. And that's a problem. Why? Because shoppers today are going through between 20 to 50 different touch points before they make a purchase. They will bounce around between inspiration and desire, between creator feeds, between wish lists and between rewards before they actually hit that buy button. So it is crucial that you're there and that you show up in different parts of the journey for those consumers. If we look at what happens when you are not there or if you're absent during this journey. So for example, if I had just read the editorial part about the weekend away in Venice, snapshot of the sandals is there imprinted, So the desire was there. However, if I didn't see the creative feed, for example, if I didn't see anything else, any other messaging about those sandals, I would have forgotten about them. So using just one channel throughout your journey means that you're missing out on the rest of it. And there's a cost to that. So when we look at the same product that you're trying to sell today, and we look at the multiple journeys that consumers go through, why do they go through different journeys? One, it could be based on demographic, it could be based on lifestyle, for example, and all of these factors need to be taken into consideration. If we look at demographics, for instance, you've got Gen Alpha, and they're rapid impulse buyers. The purchase is done within a few minutes, probably on social media. Then you have the Gen Z. These are the digital investigators who will cross-reference all of the different reviews before they actually make a purchase on the retail site. And then you've got the millennials, who are the master planners. They will look at deals, they'll plan ahead, they'll look at value, and then finally they will find a flexible checkout to use. Although I'm definitely not Gen Alpha, and I usually sit here in a lot of my purchases. One which happened, which was a lip stain at 7:15 a.m. before I actually got out of bed. That's when I realised I had a problem. And then we'll look at demographic. We'll talk about the different channels. So taking those into consideration, there are going to be different touch points that appeal to those customer types. Okay? So if we look at the person who converted, who's Gen Alpha using social media, they're going to use social commerce, probably buy now, pay later, and some rewards as well. Okay? So there's none of the other elements that we might discuss, like editorial or AI validation. Whereas Gen Z will have a completely different journey. So they might go through an editorial site, then get some recommendations on social media, validate it using AI, and then actually make the final purchase. And the same with the millennial as well. So just to reiterate again, that your touch points must be present across the entire journey, across all demographics, across all channels, at all times. Easy enough. And so when we think about that, we refer to it as omnipresence. Okay, so omnipresence isn't about just hammering the same message to the click-saving consumers over and over and over again. That's called digital stalking to start with. And it creates fatigue and it creates brand resentment rather than brand affinity. Okay? So we talked and have talked for ages about the rule of sevens. People need to see your messaging 7 times before they actually make a purchase or before they make any purchasing decision. I was told very recently this is a very, very outdated rule, actually. It dates back to the 30s, 1930, from Hollywood studios, where they needed consumers to actually see an advert 7 times, whether it's newspaper or a trailer, before actually walking into a theatre. So in reality, today, we absorb about 10,000 pieces of media information and different touch points before we make a decision. So having omnipresence is about truly being present in the space where the consumer's mind wanders during that 30-day journey, for example. So the key word here is diversification of that content. Not the same content to the same consumer over and over and over again. Be present across different channels in different ways, selling the same product. Does that make sense? And then when we talk about diversification, we have different publisher types and different publisher mix to help you with that as well. So think of the different publisher types as a relay race, okay? And then one passing the baton on to the other. So if we start with editorial as an example, the editorial guys are the ones who ignite the desire, the interest, the ones who build trust, the ones who write trusted reviews and recommendations. And as a result of these guys being incredibly good at what they do, we've seen 17% increase in average order value in the last year. Then you've got buy now, pay later, who have historically been known as bottom of funnel and alternative way to checkout, for instance. Now buy now, pay later is used more widely for discovery and research purposes. As a result of that, we've seen 10% increase in search and click volume. Shopping tools, wish list. Premium place to really take the desire that you have and save it somewhere so it doesn't go anywhere. So you're essentially taking that passive desire and turning it into saved assets for later and share it with your friends if you like. Shopping tools generate a 36% increase in conversion rates. Social commerce. This is where you've got creators leading with recommendations and taking some initial intent and desire and turning it into action straight away. If you look at Gen Z, 88% of them would rather hear from peers and relatable influencers rather than celebrities at the moment. And as a result of that, social commerce generated 50% increase in new customer acquisition. And cashback and loyalty. This is where your brand and peers and consumers are going to be offered to choose your brand and earn rewards at the back of that, and therefore gives you a lot more presence and awareness. Cashback and loyalty has generated 4x higher conversion rates in the last year. These are all the different publisher types and mix that you could have in your full funnel strategy. Where you start and where you finish will be completely down to the KPIs you have, the type of campaigns you're running, the vision that you have. Let's have a look at one product. So if we look at the Touch and Dewy Skin Cream, and we have a look at different journeys. So for example, the goal of this campaign is around brand awareness and consideration only. Okay, so new product launch, I just want to generate awareness and eyeballs to the product. So here you might have a mix of social media and work with some trusted creators to generate that initial intent and desire and interest. Then you will have editorial that will build up that credibility. So you'll discover a product on social media and you might go to a review site to actually validate it, especially if you see one of your favorite editors writing about this, then again, it's cemented. You trust that editor. Gifting will generate additional exposure. You might go to events, there might be some giveaways. And so this is the kind of publisher mix that you'll have, and including wishlist and buy now, pay later for an awareness campaign. Okay? There's no ROAS, there's no KPI attached to this. All you want is more eyeballs, more interest, higher clicks potentially. Whereas if we look at the KPI and goal for the same product, but it's actually around purchase and maximizing ROI. So here you might have a set ROAS that you need to hit. The publisher mix you're going to have in this campaign is going to be quite different. So you'll probably start off with buy now, pay later, for instance. So therefore you can run more research, run more discoveries within the tiles inside the actual app. Then you can convert those consumers who have expressed interest to saving some of those products into their wish list for later. You'll add rewards and loyalty. You'll have editorial that will reinforce the product benefits, for example. Social commerce to drive immediate action, and some coupons and deals because you are focused on conversions and sales. So the mix of publishers you have here is going to be different to an awareness campaign. And again, the idea here is to test with a diversified mix of different publishers. Just because you have a ROAS originator or focused campaign doesn't mean you work with the one channel and put all of your eggs in one basket. Okay, so this is about spreading the investment and diversifying your traffic stream. Traffic stream and your investment. Why? Because consumers will go through these different touch points before they make a purchase. And when we have a look at you guys, your advertisers, when we work with PR, when we work with affiliates, when we work with social teams and brand teams and influencer teams, sometimes it's very siloed. Everyone is fighting with everybody, different budgets. And sometimes actually you guys are working a lot more in synergy. Sometimes the lines are fading between PR and affiliate, for example. It's hugely important to move away from siloed way and siloed strategy to more of a unified approach. Why? Because a siloed approach will destroy the full funnel strategy itself. It will stay as a fragmented one. When I bought my sandals, for me it was a seamless process. But for the advertiser, for Valentino, it might have been 3 different teams who don't talk to each other internally. So the key here today is about, let's stop asking the question of which publisher type works and start asking the question of how do we fund this entire ecosystem to keep the loop closed. When you unlock budgets internally and work with the different stakeholders internally as well at cross-functional level, you're actually then allocating more resource to activate wider publisher range that you can work with, that you can test with, that you can run different types of campaigns with as well. And it can be all measurable in different ways. You can have consistent messaging across multiple channels this way, and you can generate greater reach, conversions, and influence. So that's one of the key things I'm going to leave you with before we move on to how Screenlinks is working with advertisers today and who's really leaning into this strategy at the moment. Thank you guys. Pass on to Deepa.
Okay, so this is the heart of our strategy. Our clients that work across awareness, consideration, and conversion are the ones that are winning. We have editorial and social commerce that drive awareness through reach. We have wish lists and social commerce that drive consideration and drive intent. We have buy now, pay later and rewards that drive that conversion and drive that actual sale. And then we have loyalty publishers that drive brand advocacy, that drive that repeat purchase through social commerce and loyalty partners. Each of our brands that have implemented this strategy are winning and they're growing fast. So our numbers on our network back this up. We've seen impressive growth from buy now, pay later at 150%. Our wishes and gifting have increased by 33%. And the social commerce market is expected to grow by 38 billion. So these are not just niche channels anymore, they are the ones that are growing fast, and we need to be working with all of these channels now. So Screenlinks is not just access to publishers, we are your strategic partner. We would like to work with you on an always-on campaign, not just one-off campaigns. We will work with our publishers to drive strategies which align to your business and pivot where necessary. And we'll adapt to your priorities as well. So we use our market intelligence and our internal data to back up our insights. 66% of our clients that booked with us in Q4 saw an increase in order value, and then 61% of our clients actually rebooked with us. And so those that invest in our shopping channels saw a 25% increase in growth as well. So Screenlinks is a partner that allows you to be always on with all the across the funnel and in the shopper journey as well. I'd like to invite the panelists now because to hear from the ecosystem and to do your dinner.
Hi everybody, my name's Tom Allen. I work at The Guardian and I'm the head of our affiliates channel and run our home consumer journalism, buying guides, product reviews, etc., called The Filter, which we launched a couple of years ago, and it was always my dream to be on a panel with you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Daniel, co-founder of Hey Savvy, a brand new fashion search engine for women. So see something you love, take a photo, upload a screenshot, and we'll find what you're looking for in stock, in your size, and at the best price. We literally launched 2 weeks ago, so we're a really exciting period of shouting about who we are and everyone getting to know us. So download it and tell every female in your life, please.
I'm the head of affiliates and partnerships at ClearPay. We do buy now, pay later, pay in full. So yeah, whoever wants to use ClearPay, download it, which is mission, and make a purchase.
You didn't share anything about childhood, but that's okay. Yeah?
Share something?
It'd be lovely.
I was born in London. When I was 1, we went to visit my family in Colombia for 3 weeks. We ended up staying 8 years. So when I came back to London, I had a British passport, no English, no nothing. So that's an interesting.
Hello everybody, my name is Kristen. I work for GoWish, which is a wish list. And we try to be the go-to place for everything related to giving a gift for someone. So we go in and actually get inspired to what to wish for or get someone else. We are originally a Danish app, and in Denmark we're called Ønskeskyr. And that name didn't...
Repeat that.
That name didn't sit well in other countries, so we had to make it GoWish in all of the markets in Denmark. But happy to be here. Nice to meet you. And I don't have something to share. Maybe later.
I'm actually Brand Sponsorship Director at Shop Your Likes. We're the creative commerce platform in the Taguri Group, working very closely alongside Skillink, so great to see so many of our brand partners here today. It's an exciting time for the platform and the business. We're driving over £1 billion of revenue through our technology today and connecting creators, brands.
A couple of questions to start off with, if that's okay. So, consumers today are discovering products in more places than ever before. How does ongoing fragmentation of the shopper journey change your approach to engagement? Open to you guys. Would ever like to, Christian? Yeah.
Big surprise, I work for Wishlist, so I'm going to say we focus a lot on Wishlist. But it's actually a little bit, it's not just because we are Wishlist, it's something that we are seeing also in the numbers actually. Once upon a time we had a lot of focus on getting people to buy right now, but over time we've seen that people add a wish to the wish list. It actually takes 4 to 8 weeks before it actually turns into a conversion. So we started to focus a lot on really driving, pushing for a lot of more wishes, because we can see that we can learn a lot from getting those wishes into the app, getting all that data, all that intent data, that we can then share with our advertisers so that they can go in and see, okay, what is actually going to sell in a few weeks for us. So it's not just looking at right now, a lot of trend data looking at right now or the past, whereas wishes actually look into a little bit into the future. You can see what is going to sell, and then you use that to expand, and you use that in your other channels as well. So we've seen that wishes create a lot of value for advertisers. Of course, it's important to also drive the sales, so we also push for actually getting the conversions, but wishes is super important to us. Big surprise, I know.
I mean, that's super valuable data to have and to share and talk about the future, not just right now, like I said.
Yeah, in terms of the way that we changed, so Clover has been around since 2014 in Australia, came over to the UK in 2019. It kind of started off as an app. It was just a shopping directory. So
I remember I was there, I lived in
Yes.
Australia during that time.
Oh, really? So it was a case of you could go to the app, just search for the brands that were delivering, click checkout, and that's it. Someone came to the list and said, okay, we can do something with this, with the shop directory. So what we started doing is that we started offering buy now, pay later from an affiliate point of view, so you don't have to have it integrated at checkout, but everything is done through the app. And then over time, we started realizing that people wanted to use it as a search tool, discovery tool as well. So we started implementing different placements such as top category to make sure that where the merchants are pushing that brand awareness, whether it's a brand or a campaign, and working across key categories as well to make sure that the brands are shown in the right place as well. Because we do have people do come to the app to shop, and it's just a case of making sure that the right brands, right competitors, and the right places at the right time as well, because we are driving that discovery, that consideration, and ultimately that purchase at the end.
It's so important, isn't it? To like meet the shopper where the influence happens. You have to be there front of mind.
Exactly, and I know that we'll speak about it later, but we do have case studies in which when we have a merchant that's always there and then they stop showing after a couple of months, we don't see the impact straight away, but we see other merchants that end up showing them, how they start taking that revenue share of voice away because the customers, in terms of fragmentation, they're not as loyal as before you, so they're happy to shop at different places for the same product as well.
Thanks, Diego.
We've seen it as a bit of that there's more clarity than there's ever been before actually. So even though there's huge fragmentation across all the different channels, actually customers are becoming more clear about where to go for each channel now. So if you think ChatGPT when that started, we all told it our life story and went to it for every single thing that we did. But now more LLMs have come onto the scene, that it might be Canva, or it might be Klarna, or it might be Claude, or HeySavvy for shopping, for example. Yeah, people are getting more and more, they understand I need to be really clear about what that specific vertical is that I need. So even though there is a lot of choice, I think it's about, exactly as you covered in your presentation, showing up at that point of intent of where it matters in each vertical. It's not about spread betting and just going across all, it's about being really focused in where you can actually make an impact across each one.
Thank you. And then for us, so all of our activity that we drive to retail partners through the affiliate channel comes from editorial content. And so for us, the equivalent of this is making sure that we have different types of content, different formats of articles that speak to the user at different stages of the purchase journey. So if I think about a high value product like a new coffee machine or a mattress, it might be articles on things you need to know before you're buying that particular product. Then it might be the recommendation of the best product in that category. And then we have increasingly investing in articles about how to maintain, clean, repair, recycling, things like that. So the consumer, we're meeting the consumer at different stages of that journey with different needs. And then I think overlaying that with the sort of like platform distribution mix as well. So how can we make all those different types of content work on different platforms? So we're meeting with the person in a sort of like on a different surface, but also at a different stage of that journey to make sure that we're fully visible.
And that's so important because you've got such loyal readers who keep coming back and consuming the content. So that content being available across multiple devices, it's just, again, it's just making life easier, part of the whole journey. I want to talk about consumer spending. So as people are becoming more deliberate with their spending, let's say, what behaviours are you seeing from shoppers as they sort of research and plan purchases before actually buying? I would like to kick off. Tom, yeah.
I think it's actually the same answer that I just gave, which is that we're seeing consumers spend time with different types of articles and different types of advice about a particular product or a particular product category before then coming back to the guides that we have that are more conversion oriented and more geared towards helping the person who is in market to buy the particular item to actually make the decision for the one that's right for them. So we can see consumers behave in that way. One of the things that we also, almost a lucky benefit of The Guardian is that because we have a large amount of direct homepage traffic, app traffic, people who come to the site every single day without the specific purpose before they come to us, we actually get a lot of success through impulse purchases. People coming, they haven't gone on a big research journey. And the thing that actually works very well for us there is when we can use social proof from The Guardian or Guardian journalists to sort of say, like, we've surveyed readers and this is what they found works for them, or and sort of like a big angle or a big hook that works well for us are things like things that have improved our life, money-saving hacks, things like that. That social proof to sort of help people, move people along that purchase journey in the moment.
What we're seeing is it's around 53% of customers are spending time researching before they actually make that leap. I mean, to be clear, we're the kind of millennial and up demographic, so they are really spending that time to understand what it is they're looking for. And if they're making a larger purchase of over £100, they're likely to go to 3+ retailers to be able to benchmark and compare. And that's comparing everything from delivery, how much is this going to cost me, how quickly can I get it, from a returns point of view. Women's fashion in particular, none of us have got a clue what size we are, because it's different in every single brand. So we're ordering 3 of everything. We want to know how quickly will I get my money back, so I'm going to need to return this. So there's a lot more investigation that's happening at the top of the funnel, and I think brands that show up there at that point of discovery and help the customers make that decision, you're seen as a real partner in the journey. Now remember that, that's where the loyalty comes from.
Yeah, I think on our side, there's a misconception that buy now pay later is just pushing people to buy a little bit more than they can afford, but our research actually shows that 95% of the transactions that people are paying with, they're paying with a debit card, so money that they do have already, and that 5% high percentage is paying with Amex or similar cards, just to make sure that they're ranking up points as well. And we do see that our average customer spends around £1,000 on a yearly basis with us, around 16 times as well, so their AOV For them, it's around £76, so it's not reckless. And they actually take their time to go into the app to make sure that they're researching the products, researching the right retailers as well. For me, for example, I've liked New Balance for a while now. I've liked New Balance since they were £100. Now you can't get anything under £200 or something like that. So for me, it's a case of doing a bit of research and getting the same pair of shoes from a different retailer. I don't really mind as long as the delivery's there, as long as I trust them. So yeah, for that, people are spending a bit more time making sure that they're making the right purchases at the right time, the right retailers as well.
We're seeing something similar actually. In Denmark, we know that it's our home market. We know that 70% of consumers want to compare prices before actually making a purchase. And I'm pretty sure it's maybe even higher here in the UK. So it's something that we really had to look a lot into, implementing price comparison on a lot of our features to make sure that our users can make the informed decision, give them all the different retailers who sell this particular item, so they don't have to leave the app, they can actually just see where they want to get this, where can I actually buy it or wish it from. And something else, again, back to what I mentioned before, with the 4 to 8 weeks from creating a wish to actually making a sale, it also indicates a lot about when people they want to add it to a wish list, think about it for a minute, not just making the impulse buy. Our users, at least, they want to think about it and make sure that they're making an informed decision, and then when they eventually decide to either delete it or buy it, it's the right decision. And we also see that in our data. We have a pretty low return rate on commission, so it looks like our users are spending the time to really consider it before actually making a purchase.
I guess they're looking at like price drops as well to that product
Exactly.
before actually.
Yeah, exactly. We're connected to the product feed, so we can make sure to, hey, it's back in stock, or hey, the price is low. We can do different types of notifications. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of the creative space, it's really where they position themselves as trusted advisors, and I think that authentic content is really what needs to resonate through when you're looking to support that research phase with your brands and your consumers. We know the power of creators in discovering and changing brand identity. We know how certain global brands have reshaped their brand, their consumer base, their success through creators. And a lot of that's because it's authentic recommendations. And I think as you go through the funnel and you come to that kind of research phase, where we're kind of uniquely positioned, Skimlinks is tying creator discovery to editorial validation, Dilly hinted at earlier. And we've seen a heck of a uplift of that performance over and over again. But I don't want to give creators just the justification at the start of the funnel. They do a lot of work, also mid and lower funnel activity, but authenticity is key. If really what you're looking at is for a lot of consumers, they're buying from their best friend. Their best friend reviewing a product. A lot of consumers, they look at creators as an extension of their friendship, friends and family almost, where to go on holiday off the week to where. So they trust them more than their family and their friends. So yeah, ensuring you've got the right content, authentic content with creators is key. I think they relish being part of the research phase.
And talking about recommendations, whatever channel it's named, but in particular AI recommendations, and we know that's increasing. How do you maintain brand trust, especially at discovery and research stage?
So I'll kick us off on the panel with ASAP is a brand I'm really excited to be next to actually. It's a hugely exciting, I guess, time for your company at the moment. But AI itself, we know at the moment, consumers are very conscious of AI. They're very kind of aware of what needs to be thinking about AI, what they need to trust out there. And again, I come back to trust again with creators, but I think that's the power of creators is authenticity and trust. So I think where AI is going to be harnessed best through discovery, but I think having recommendations and trust supported by creators is going to be key. And I don't think we need to be siloed. I think we need to work together. I think you already see a very, very popular, very, very busy creators are indexing very, very well with AI. Their recommendations and their content is being indexed. So they are, maybe even if they don't know, they're kind of being part of the whole AI ecosystem. So I think, yeah, work together rather than have a fear of each side.
Yeah, we also do AI recommendations on our platform, and of course we look a lot at the wishes, what are actual users wishing for, actual products, actual stores that they seem to prefer, and then yeah, again, gives us a lot of intent data, a lot of knowledge on which brands are they actually buying from, where are they wishing stuff from, and so a lot of knowledge about what an 18-year-old woman actually wishing for at this particular time of year. And it's also something that we're looking a lot into, actually, how can we feed that information into different LLMs. My coworker mentioned yesterday that Amazon has seen a lot of success with Rufus, and that they're going to implement it with Alexa, and whereas OpenAI has failed miserably with their product recommendations. I mean, maybe it kind of makes sense because Amazon, they both have all the information about who is buying what, and OpenAI just don't have that information. They're just closing their eyes and shooting somewhere, trying to do the recommendations for an 18-year-old woman asking ChatGPT what to wish for, what to buy. And if we can actually feed that information, because we have that information at GoWish, can we feed that into the LLMs? I think our advertisers will benefit a lot. So we can make sure to do even better recommendations in AI and increase the credibility that they provide us.
Trust is huge for us. With new kids on the block and AI, no one trusts AI. Our data shows that only 13% of people trust AI. So if you start with the trust level there, you've already lost. They already think you're a bot from China that's stealing all their information. It's just not going to happen. So for us, when we launched Hey Savvy, it was like, right, how are we going to get people to come and use this thing? Which the first thing people say is, why don't you just use Google? Which I've got a ranty Instagram post you can go and have a look at for that answer. For us, it was very much like, how do we show people that you are completely safe and we're taking the risk away from using Hey Savvy? So we were right, okay, let's look at the payment layer. You're not going to trust a new AI. So we partnered with PayPal. PayPal are a trusted payment gateway partner. You know PayPal, I understand what's happening with money, I'm good. And then from the other side, working with the likes of Skimlinks about who are the trusted brands that people know? Where are these kind of big global brands? Okay, I understand the brand, I know where they're coming from. So then Hey Savvy was just the experience layer that you needed to take a leap of faith on. And then once you lowered those barriers, it's much easier to go, okay, cool, I'll come and have a go. Nothing's going to happen to me if it goes wrong. And so building that trust layer outside and building that community and that experience and that audience engagement from either social media or in-person event days so that people get to know you. We're doing a lot more founder content, which I hate. I'm not too old for this shit, but I'm doing it. And and I think it's good for people to kind of get to know who you are as a brand as well, and so that people can go, okay, yeah, she definitely won't know what to do with my data. We're good. I can do it. She seems legit. So yeah, I think outside of the brand, outside of the AI is really important.
Thank you. Yeah, I think what you said about family content relates to something that's very important for us. So all of the products that we recommend, as I mentioned, are in editorial, which means they've been chosen by a real human, making a decision as a human, and we don't use any AI technology natively to create any of our content or augment any of our recommendations. And so I think for us it's making sure that when consumers engage with our journalism on the platforms where we have a bit more control, so our owned and operated or our social media platforms, that we're reinforcing that point of differentiation from AI, that this is a human recommendation from a trusted brand. We're very, very lucky at The Guardian in that we are a very, very trusted brand, and that trust exists in everything we do, from news to sport to culture recommendations, and then also to product recommendations as well. So making sure that we reinforce that on our own where we have the control. And then I think the thing that's a lot more nascent for us, and as the filter as a sub-brand within The Guardian, we have to work with the wider organisation, is then our relationships with the different AI providers to LLMs or whatever we want to call them, to make sure that our content licensing arrangements, the scraping arrangements, the presentation of our IP when it lives on their system is represented in their experience, is presented in a way that supports all of that trust, authority, and human-led work that we've worked very, very hard to create on site.
Brilliant. There's a lot going on there. Thank you.
For me,
Yeah.
long answer.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And when you think about, like we talked about the cost of being absent across the full funnel journey, and when we look at the different touch points and different channels and everything else we discussed so far, where would you guys say is the single biggest missed opportunity at the moment? If you had to think of one.
For brands or for publishers?
For brands at the moment. So more around like if you're not present across multiple touch points across the entire shopping journey itself. Looking at all of that, do you see that are there any missed opportunities today that brands can capitalize on?
I don't know that I would immediately know, a stage of the journey or a platform or something like that which is being underutilized by brands, and I suspect it varies greatly, with the brands and how they're set up with their various teams. I think it's really interesting, and I completely agree about affiliate teams, PR teams, brand teams working together to make sure that they understand how they're collaborating, how their different disciplines can work together to support publisher partners. When that works well with the brand, for us, that's a huge value add. And I think the slides we had about understanding what the goal of your campaign is and understanding how you're going to use different publisher types in different ways depending on what the goal of the campaign is, and then also how you're going to reward, remunerate, support each of those different publisher types depending on the campaign and depending on the way that they're set up. So the way that you would be successful with us on the panel is completely different to each other, and just understanding that when you embark on something.
I totally agree, because I think consumers don't think about channels when they're going through the shopping journey. They just want one seamless journey itself. However, we do it in the background, that's how I count it.
And a full funnel strategy only works if you really know your customer, that where to target them at each point of the funnel and each channel. He was so excited by what I was saying. He's like, oh God, Sarah, this is gold.
I think that's my phone.
But yeah, doing like the diligence on your customer. So we've got 3 different platforms. We've got iOS, Android, and web. We've got web desktop and web mobile. And it's been really interesting to see the type of customers showing up on each. We had an assumption our demographic was going to be 25 to 45-year-old women, whereas actually, who started on iOS, whereas actually it's 55 to 65-year-old women, which has been brilliant because we were expecting an average order value of £100, it's actually 180 because they've got more money. Whereas on the web, all the 25-year-olds have shown up, and they're coming to us from TikTok to the web, which I wouldn't have called out. And then Android has ended up being 35-year-olds who are a lot more fashion savvy than the iOS users. And so you can make a series of assumptions, but until you really know your customer and what they're looking for and how they're shopping, and you actually target them at the right point of intent, which I feel like I keep saying the same thing, but it's so critical on each channel of like just getting them at that moment. That's when the full funnel strategy works. Just, excuse the expression, throwing shit at the wall, it won't work because you're just going to throw a load of money away and you're not going to see any return. And I think that's potentially what a lot of brands do. They feel the frustration of, we've spent all this money, we've done all these campaigns, we've done all these things, look at all these things that we've done, and I've got nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Whereas actually being really targeted and focused, you're going to get so much more of a return.
I think journey starts way before you actually think about buying that particular product, right? Going back to like offline when you run like pre-teaser campaigns before the launch and pre-launch and launch, and it's the same here as well. It's like, how do you segment in different level and type of intent? And it doesn't have to be specifically in your aligned vertical. You know, going back to the day looking for a weekend away, but was inspired by the outfit that was shown to me. So
Lifestyle, isn't it? You're building a lifestyle, and that's the thing. You're not just selling a product. It's that old Richard Branson thing, isn't it? And that's where you'll get those targeted touch points.
One of the points I mentioned earlier is loyalty and consistency, which just showing up because I've worked on the brand side for a lot of years, and it's a case of we're doing something for like 3 months, 4 months, and then we kind of stop, and then we kind of see the snowball effect of that. So if it is going to be multiple touch points, making sure that it's consistent as well. When it comes to buy now and pay later, a lot of brands maybe don't want to work with us, but we have to be truthful to ourselves and say the biggest consideration why it stops us from making a purchase sometimes is price. So by including buy now, pay later, not just ClickBank but other platforms as well, we're kind of reducing that risk and reducing that friction for the customer to essentially make a purchase and then pay it on that platform as well.
Before I joined the Go Wish, I worked at the affiliate network. I won't mention the name. But maybe I could. But one of the things that frustrated me as an account manager back then was that a lot of advertisers say no to a lot of different publishing types instead of just giving it a try and to keep the volume free. For example, Google Shopping. A lot of advertisers. Actually, no. Google Shopping is something that I saw working really, really well for a lot of different advertisers. And there's many reasons to say no. As an advertiser, I get that. There are also a lot of reasons to say yes to giving it a shot. You can reject returns. You can do that with Google yourself. You can actually decide your own ROAS and all that stuff. So there's a lot of good ideas, but it's testing some different stuff. And yes, spoiler alert, Go Wish does Google Shopping as well. Sorry. But something that we don't do that I also think that advertisers should give a shot is something like targeting. And there's a lot of great publishers out there doing a lot of great stuff, but a lot of advertisers are saying no to Google Shopping, targeting, and a lot of other parts. So I would say a missed opportunity is saying no to too much stuff. Give it a shot, and it's affiliate, so you can always shut it down after a while if you don't like the traffic.
say yes more, measure it. Ash.
I would say in the creator space, one of the big missed opportunities is still bucketing a lot of creators into that discovery value and kind of missing the part of their performance across the funnel. I think now with platforms like Foster and multi-touch attribution platforms are now starting to provide a view of where that creators are appearing in each and every sale. I think when brands can start harnessing that value, understanding how they can reward them fairly, I think that's going to be how we really truly unlock the full power of creators. I think another point as well, which is very much into that, is the value and it's not a missed opportunity. I just think it's very much a growing opportunity. Is the use of user-generated content. We're seeing more and more briefs request this, but there's still a lot of brands that aren't requesting it, but don't see value in investing in it. It's hugely powerful for, again, talked about authenticity again, for driving that kind of authentic content on site through your other paid social channels. And also saving some marketing budget as well, putting together your own creative. So I think you'll be surprised at how little UGC is used in the UK across brands at the moment, but it's growing. I think that's a growing opportunity as opposed to a miss.
Thank you.